Buried deep beneath the mountains and plains of Pakistan, there's this vast hidden treasure. And no, I'm not talking about gold coins or some long-lost artifacts. This is something that could be way more valuable, a huge wealth of mineral resources. So what exactly is this treasure? And maybe more importantly, why is so much of it just sitting there, untouched? Well, let's dive in and find out. All right, so here's our game plan for today. First, we're going to kick things off by figuring out what this hidden wealth is all about. Then we'll explore two different kinds of treasure. You've got your non-metallic minerals, the stuff that literally builds the nation, and then the high-value metals that could be a total game changer for the economy. After that, we'll dig into the big hurdles that are keeping all this wealth in the ground. And to wrap it all up, we'll tackle that really tricky question of how you balance all this potential progress with, protecting the environment.
Okay, let's jump right into part one, Pakistan's hidden mineral wealth. So what exactly are we even looking for here? So really, what is this treasure hiding beneath the surface of Pakistan? I mean, it's a huge question, right? It touches on geology, economics, and just this massive national potential. But hold on, before we start digging, let's make sure we're all on the same page about what a mineral actually is.
Okay, so in simple terms, a mineral is basically a natural building block that comes straight from the earth. The big things to remember are it's a solid, it's formed by natural, inorganic processes, so not from plants or animals, and it has this really specific repeating crystal structure. Think of it like nature's own chemistry set, It's creating all the raw materials that shape our entire world. All right, let's get into our first category of treasure, the non-metallic minerals. Now look, these aren't always the flashy, glamorous ones, But they are the absolute workhorses of industry and construction. They're kind of the unsung heroes that we literally use every single day.
And this map right here gives us a fantastic overview of where you can find these workhorses. See those squares? That's limestone. And you can see it's being extracted all over the country, from Sindh way down in the south all the way up to the northern areas. And then you've got the triangles. That's rock salt. It's a bit more clustered, especially in that world-famous salt range. And there it is, the world-famous pink rock salt, a lot of it coming from the Kevra mines. It's beautiful, right? But its value, it goes way beyond just the dinner table. It's a super important ingredient for making all sorts of things, from paper and soap to setting dyes in clothes. And yeah, of course, it's also used to de-ice roads in places that get a lot of snow and ice. Okay, now limestone, this stuff might just be the ultimate multitasker. Seriously. It's the absolute backbone of construction. It's what makes cement and the base for our roads, but its uses get, surprisingly diverse. It helps out in farming by conditioning the soil, it's used in making glass and paper, and get this, it's even an ingredient in your toothpaste. It is literally everywhere. So we've talked about the everyday workhorses. Now, let's turn to the crown jewels of Pakistan's mineral wealth, the metallic treasures. These are the high-value minerals we're talking about, the ones that hold the key to a massive economic transformation. And this is where the story gets absolutely staggering. Just look at the gap between the potential and what's actually happening. Pakistan is sitting on 900 million tons of iron ore, but only extracts about 24,000 tons a year. And get this, it has reserves of 1.9 with a billion tons of copper, but only pulls out around 15,000 tons. This huge, enormous gap, that's the central puzzle we're trying to figure out here. To really put that potential into perspective, just look at this number, $960 billion. That's the estimated value of the copper alone from just one major deposit, a place called Reko Diq in Balochistan. We're talking about one of the largest untapped copper and gold mines on the entire planet. The scale of this potential wealth, it's just mind-boggling. Which, of course, brings us to the really big question, right? The central conflict in this whole story. If these resources are so incredibly valuable, why on earth is so much of this treasure still just locked away in the ground? Well, this map gives us a major clue. A lot of the most valuable mineral deposits are tucked away in these remote, rugged, mountainous regions. Think Balochistan and the northern areas. They're a long way from the coast, a long way from any ports, and that creates a massive logistical nightmare. So the treasure is definitely there, but getting to it, that's the real challenge. And it's not just about geology, it's about logistics. I mean, without good roads and railways, trying to move these heavy, bulky minerals is incredibly expensive. Then you add in a lack of reliable electricity and water in these remote mining areas, a shortage of skilled workers, and just the sheer distance to any major port. And yeah, you've pretty much got a perfect storm of obstacles. And all of this leads us to the heart of the matter, the central dilemma. Because you see, tapping into these resources, it's not a simple yes or no decision. It really is a double-edged sword. You've got this difficult balancing act between huge economic benefits on one side and some pretty serious environmental costs on the other. I mean, on the one hand, the benefits are crystal clear. Developing the mineral sector could seriously boost the national economy, bring in foreign investment, create a ton of much-needed jobs, and help the country rely less on imports. But then you flip the coin, and the environmental price tag can be really steep. We're talking about large-scale mining that can lead to deforestation, loss of wildlife habitats, water and air pollution, soil damage, and if you use Pakistan's lower-quality high-sulfur coal, for instance, you're looking at a real risk of acid rain. This chart from 2008 kind of brings us back down to earth. It shows what was actually being produced back then. You can see rock salt was the leader, but even that output, it was just a tiny, tiny fraction of the known reserves. It's such a powerful visual reminder of the huge potential that's still just waiting to be unlocked. You know, if you can get the right mix of investment, infrastructure, and some smart forward-thinking policies. And that brings us right to our final and most critical question. Because this is about so much more than just digging stuff out of the ground. The real challenge is this. How can Pakistan unlock this incredible treasure chest in a way that fuels its economy but doesn't sacrifice its environmental future? Now that is the billion or maybe even trillion-dollar question.